This feature has been brought to you by Slot Foundation, which needs your support to continue projects like these. Information on this recording and access to other recordings is available online at slot.org.
There's something wrong with that, whatchamacallit there, the arm inside that thing, and it makes the tank take a real long time to fill up, you know.
Oh, I see.
You're going to have some reading ahead of you now, man.
I got something to do here, huh? Man, this is crazy.
Have you heard anything about philosophy?
Well,
what have you read, actually?
I'll tell you what I've read. You know these books that they put out, the books, this made simple, that made simple, law made simple.
Oh, yeah.
So, well, they got one called Philosophy Made Simple. Well, I read that. And, well, that's the only thing I actually read all the way through. And I bought a few books, those things, something I picked up about language, truth, logic. You know, like stuff like that. I just picked up something I get into, man, and I don't get any further than the first few pages, you know, and then I start looking around and trying to find things.
What do you think you're looking for? Like, you're interested in philosophy? I mean, what?
I don't know. That's what I mean, I don't think it's really that I'm looking for as an end, you know. But it seems to be something in it that I kind of like, you know. I guess it's just for seeing what I finally decided that it would be a good idea to see what other people thought about it. You know, to make people think better than I did, you know. See what they think about living. Just, you know, life.
Well, let me ask you this. What do you think about living in life up to this point?
Well, I couldn't give you an answer. I don't have it together well enough, you know. I don't think I have. I couldn't say.
Do you think there seems to be an overall plan to the thing, and do you think that your life is predetermined, or that you're your own free agent and you make what you want of your life?
Well, it seems like I make. I believe when you say that you make almost what you want, but in a way you do, but like when, it seems like a part that you don't have much to do with.
Much control over it.
Yeah, like when, you know, you kind of set your course, but when you arrive and things like that, you know. It doesn't always happen as you plan, you know, you don't know that's
sure,
somewhere else. You know, you can kind of set it.
Before you got interested in philosophy and
well, I'll tell you.
Starting to think about philosophy, what did you...
I can tell you.
Yeah.
It started with religion, I guess. And well, taught from childhood, you know, religion. And then the first question of religion, that brought on everything. You know, when I got to the age where I would start to wonder about things.
What faith were you brought up into?
Methodist.
Methodist? Did you have a very strict religious life, or was it rather
well, it wasn't too strict, but it was there. I mean, like my grandfather, both of my grandfathers were ministers. My mother, she was very religious. But like in my early years, she went to church every Sunday and stuff like that. Being under the influence of her grandfather, he was the dominating character in the family. Actually, he was most well-versed, I guess, politically. He was most active, you know. My father was a tailor, but he didn't seem to say too much. He just went about his business, that was it, you know. But my grandfather, he was pretty militant, you know. politically inclined, and religion was his field, you know. So that's I grew up in that. And I guess I just accepted it, and I thought I felt certain things. And I think that I said late teens, I started breaking away, you know, and certain things. Just growing up, so I questioned, you know, a lot that I found in religion. I began to wonder about it. But 2 or 3 years later, maybe 22, 23, this Muslim thing. I got introduced to that, you know. And that kind of shook me. A lot of my friends, you know, they weren't Muslims, you see. So I thought about that. Anyway, it took me to something I never thought about, you know, another religion, you know. So that started me to think. But I never did anything about it. I just thought about it, you know. Since I was too busy doing other things. And I forgot it. I think I put it out of my mind for several years. I didn't bother to think about it. And recently I decided, I started looking into, you know, I said, well, maybe I can just see what people who are thinking, you know. Once I realize that's what I'm trying to do, you know. That's why I turned to things like this, you know. I haven't devoted as much time to it as I want to. I haven't actually learned or covered as much ground in it as I know. I like to cover more ground in it. I like to, you know, like get my own thoughts together, compose the way I feel like they should be, you know. I was like religion, man. I was disappointed when I found out how many religions there were and how.
You were disappointed?
Yeah.
What way?
I was not disappointed. I don't know what they. When I saw there were so many religions and how opposed somewhere to the next and so forth, you know, I threw up my hand. And I don't know. I was kind of confused. You know. And I just couldn't believe that every one guy could be right, and of course he's right, somebody else got to be wrong, you know, if he is right, and all vice versa, you know.
Well, do you think there's any kind of a chance of all the religions that there are actually being tied in with one another? And by that I mean, regardless of what they say or what they think, that the basic things that are involved in their religions are all actually tied in with the basic things that the next guy believes and the next guy believes and so on down the line. And that through history, through time, and through people acting on religions, they have tried to say, well, what I've got is right and what you've got is wrong because you call yourself this and I call myself that. And that people have actually changed the face of religion, so to speak, but the basic things involved are all pretty much the same.
Sure, I think the basic things would bring them all together, man. If it was just, if there was anybody to say, well, get together.
In other words, then you would like to see something like a universal type religion where instead of there being all these differences and one guy knocking the next because he's belongs to a different faith.
It should be something like that.
If there is something basic to all of them, then they should all get together.
Yeah, it should be. I think so. It should be that way. But like when you study, like you see what these people say about good, you know, philosophers, when they start talking about good and bad, man, they take those two words and go so far with them, man. You know, it could be a complicated thing.
Well, I think.
But it's got to be simple. I mean, really, to really get some good out of it, to really realize something, you got to make it simple. And I think religions, they pretty well, they've got it made if they can get together. Because when they say what they preach is good, I mean, it seems good to me.
Do you think that when you finish reading a certain number of books and have had time to absorb and think these things over, that it will change you in any way or change your outlook on life in any way?
Well, I don't think it'll change me. I think it'll help me to understand. You know, like I'll be able to walk a little sure. You know, I'll be just take a little confusion away. You know, I think I'll be the same.
Do you think very many musicians are more than confused, just like everybody might be, about this religious business, that they might be interested in it in the same way that you might be interested in it, by trying to gain a little bit more understanding of just what's going on? And do you think a lot of them fall into that category? Have you ever talked with any other musicians about it?
Yeah, well, I think the majority of musicians are interested in truth. You know, they've got to be, because a musical thing is a truth. If you make a statement, a musical statement, and it's a valid statement, that's the truth right there in itself, you know. And if you play something phony, well, you know that's phony, you know. And all musicians are striving for that near perfection as they can get, and that's truth there, you know. And so, in order to play those kind of things, play truth, you've got to live with as much truth as you possibly can, you know. And that's one of that religious. If a guy is religious, and I think if he's searching for good, he wants to live a good life. He might call it religious, or he might not call himself religious. Maybe he says, I just live a good life. But a religious man would call him, he said, well, that man is a religious man, he lives a good life. So, quite a few musicians think about it. I've talked with quite a few about it.
Are there any that stand out in your mind as having views that you feel are closer to the truth than other fellows might have? Are there any musicians that you respect because of their views in this line?
Well, no, not offhand. I can't think of anyone more than others. You know, I've talked to quite a few, and they all seem to be searching, trying to find some way. You know, most musicians I know, and some don't talk about it at all. You know, they seem to be pretty well contained. Maybe they've found, you know, just what they want. You know. I don't know.
It's a long subject to try to get into, I know.
Yeah, I get wound up in it, man. You know, I get confused, and then I have to forget about it for a while.
Well, changing the subject a little bit, in your playing and listening experiences in the past few years, who do you feel are the musicians today that you respect most? That's putting you really on the spot, I realize, but I'm sure that Monk must fall into a category like this, because last night you were quite positive about the fact that he was a real major contributor and a great writer and really had something to offer the people. What other musicians fall into this category?
Well, I'll name some that I like, and I might be leaving out quite a few.
That always happens.
Yeah, there might be quite a few I'm leaving out. Hard Silver, for one. And all the great soloists, you know, like Miles and Sonny Lana. Guys like that. But when I mention a guy like Monk, he's to me, he's a soloist, and he's got he writes so many things, and there are just few like him, really, like Charlie Parker was like that. He could play, and he could write quite a few things, Dizzy, he writes quite a bit too.
What about Benny Golson?
Benny Golson, he's another contributor. Quincy. G.G. Grace too. And there's a guy plays, he's in the Army right now, he plays tenor, named Wayne Shorter. I think he's going to contribute quite a bit too. Because he has this double talent. He can play, and then he's got enough stuff to play a whole lot and then sit down and write a lot too,
What do you think of Johnny Hodges and of Lester Young today?
I like him just as well as I did.
As well as you used to.
Yeah, just as well as I did 15 years ago.
Well, Rabbit certainly was. He'd have to put him in the front ranks, really, of any group of musicians that you name, because he always played so prettily, man. He was always a beautiful player. I know Bird. I remember reading an interview with Bird in a magazine one time, and Bird was very, very enthusiastic about Hodges' playing and said that Hodges was one of his major influences.
Yeah, he was great.
Had so much soul.
So much so, man. A lot of soul.
A lot of people say that Lester doesn't play as well today as he used to. I don't know. To me, he's always played great.
I think so too.
He's always played great. He always gets a great sound. He's always got young guys with him too. You notice nowadays, well, for the last 10 years, he's always chosen some of what he felt were the younger talents, like this trumpet player that he had working with him for quite a while, Jesse Drake.
Yeah. He's a very good trumpeter.
He's a very, very good trumpeter. The trouble is, you don't hear enough of him.
That's right. I don't know why. He'll be heard. He's a good trumpeter. He'll find some groove somewhere for him.
Well, when you first started with Monk, before you actually went to work at the fine stuff, did Monk used to hold rehearsals so that you could learn all the tunes and?
Yes. Yeah.
How did these things go? I'm kind of curious as to how he more or less made you familiar with the tunes he was doing, the changes.
Well, I'd go by his house, by his apartment, and get him out of bed maybe or something. And he'd wake up and roll the piano and start playing, He'd play anything, might be just one of his tunes, but he'd start playing it, and he'd look at me, I guess, and so when he'd look at me, I'd get my horn, and start trying to find what he was playing, and continue to play over and over and over and over, and I'd get this part, and then next time we go over it, I'd get another part, and he would stop and show me some parts that were pretty difficult, and if I had a lot of trouble, well, he'd get his portfolio out, and I'd show him the music. He's got music, he's got all of them written, and I read it and learn it. He would rather a guy learn without reading, because that way you feel it better. You feel it quicker when you memorize it, when you learn it by heart, by ear, And so he'd, when I almost had the tune down, then he would leave me with it. He'd leave me to practice it alone. And he'd go out somewhere, maybe go to the store, go back to bed or something. And I'd just sit there and run over it, so I had it pretty well. And then I'd call him and we'd play it down together. And sometimes we'd just get one tune a day.
How long did it take you before you actually felt you were ready to go down to the fire spot and actually work as a regular unit? You know.
Well, as soon as you got the job at the fire spot, we went right in because just going over things that started earlier. We just, I met him, and I just started hanging around with him. I went down and started going down to his house because I like that music. And we'd already recorded one song, Monk's Mood. Yeah.
That was the one you came over from Philly just to do.
Yeah, I liked it so well. I told him that I wanted to learn it, so he invited me around. That's when I started learning this tune. We didn't know if we would ever work together. Really enjoyed it too. I sure enjoyed working with Mark.
You think that was a turning point, really, in your playing career?
Well, I don't know whether it was a turning point. About that time, I made a decision, myself. That's when I stopped drinking and all that stuff. And I was able to play better right then,
Did you used to drink heavily?
Yeah. So by the time that he started the group, I stopped drinking, Found I could, that helped me in all kinds of ways when I started drinking. I could play better, sing better, everything. And his music was stimulant.
How did you used to feel when you were working down the fire spot when, I know we had seen you a couple of times down there, and in the middle of a tune, Monk would get up from the piano and walk around to the side of it and do his little thing, and leave you standing there for us holding the bag.
I feel kind of lonesome, man. Yeah, I felt a little lonesome up there.
Well, when you're standing up there playing like that, how do you hear the changes? Do you think of the changes as you're going along, or does the bass player suggest them to you with what he's playing? Or?
Yeah, the bass player, I count on him,
What does he actually do? Like when Wilbur would be playing bass, would he play like the dominant note in each chord? I don't know how you phrase this, but can you explain it?
Well, at times, but a bass player like Wilbur Ware, he's so inventive, man. Like he doesn't always play the dominant notes.
But whatever he plays is a suggestive note that gives you an idea of which way the changes are going.
Yeah, it may be. Yeah. It might not be. But Wilbur, he plays the other way sometimes. He plays things that are rather kind of, they're foreign. Well, if you didn't know the song, well, you wouldn't be able to find it, because he's superimposing things. He's playing around or under, over, or something, building tension. Mm-hmm. So when he comes back to it, you feel everything sucks in.
Yeah.
But usually I knew the tune, so it was all right. I knew the changes anyway, so we managed to come out to the end together anyway.
Which always helps.
Yeah, we managed to finish on time. Anyway. It's a lot of fun playing that way, though.
I can imagine it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So sometimes he would be playing auto changes, and I would be playing auto changes. And he would be playing some other kind of auto changes from the type I'd be playing. And neither one of us playing the changes to the tune until we reach a certain spot, and then if we get there together, we're lucky, that's... And then Monk comes back in to save everybody, and nobody knows where he is. That's the impression a lot of people got anyway. They said, man, how do you guys remember all that stuff? We weren't really remembering much, just the basic changes and And everybody else just tried anything they wanted to try on it. So. And Monk, he's always doing something back there that sounds so mysterious. And it's not mysterious at all, you know, when you know what he's doing. Just like those little things, just like simple truth, you know, like he might take a chord, a major chord, a minor chord, and leave the third out. But yet he says, this is a minor chord, man, you know, so you don't have a minor third in there, so you don't know what it is. You say, well, how do you know it's a minor chord? Well, that's what it is, a minor chord with the third out. Well, he feels that way, so there you go. And when he plays the thing, man, it will just be in the right place and voice the right way to have that minor feel. Mm-hmm. But still, it's not a minor because there's no third, it's not there. It's little things like that, you know.
So did he pull that on you actually working on the job, or had he done this before, previously with you, where he'd gotten up and left the piano and left you, so to speak, holding the bag?
Well, he just started that on the job.
He just started on the job? How did you feel about it when he first did it?
Well, I started looking around for him the first time he did it, but after that I got used to it, you know, and I just tried to hold up till he got back.
Why do you think he did it?
I don't know. He said he wanted to hear us, and he said he wanted to hear the band. Like when he did that, he was in the audience himself, and he was listening to the band. And then he come back, you know, he got something out of that thing. You know?
I used to get the biggest kick out of the way he'd do this little shuffle dance on the side, you know?
Yeah, I wanted to see that myself, you know. I couldn't see it.
Did it ever occur to you to pull your horn away from your mouth and walk over and stand behind him and then he threw me off and then Wilbur and Shadow did it?
Yeah, I should have done it, man. I wanted to see it myself. Like, it was so interesting. Everybody was talking about it. And every once in a while I'd open up one eye and peep at it, you know. He was really enjoying it, you know. He was getting a big kick then.
Well, I'm sure that he must have really enjoyed your playing, I know, because...
Well, he said he did. Man.
I spoke to him once or twice, I know, and each time he'd say, well, yeah, he's the man.
It's, I learned a lot with him. Learned, like, little things, you know. I learned to watch little things. I don't know, he's just a good musician, man. You know, it's like if you work with a guy who watches the finer points of things, you know, it kind of helps you a little bit to try to watch the finer points sometimes. And the little things mean so much in music, like everything else, you know. Like the way you build a house, starting with those little things. You get the little things together, and then the whole structure will stand up. If you goof the little things, you don't have.
Was it the same kind of a playing experience, playing, say, with Miles now, as it was with Monk?
No, it's altogether a different thing. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just another great experience, you know.
But it was something of a different nature, though.
Yes, it's slightly different. And I can't quite explain the difference here, you know.
Who had you worked with before you worked with Miles when he had Red and Paul and Philly Joe? Who had you been with before that?
Well, you want the whole string of?
If you feel like saying it.
So, man, let's see.
I know one thing is for sure and certain. You work with an awful lot of people.
Yeah, I did.
And it's spread out over a pretty good span of time.
Yeah.
Well, like say, for example, like you said, 14 years ago, 44 was when you first started playing.
Yeah.
And when did you have your first professional gig with anybody?
Well, I usually call my first professional job with a band from Indianapolis, led by Joe Webb. And this was in '47.
Ray? He's downstairs. Ray!
Alright, I'll take it downstairs.
All right.
Hold up for a second.
Big Maybell was in this band, the Big
Yeah.
Maybell blues
Blues
singer.
singer, yeah.
This was, I don't know what the heck we were, rhythm and blues or everything. I don't know what that band. Anyway, that's that band and King Colac. You heard of Colac sing trumpet. And Eddie Vincent, Dizzy, Earl Bostic, Gay Cross. Gay Cross.
I'm not familiar.
He's from Cleveland. He had a little band. He used to be with Lil Jordan one time. In his band, he had a little band that was patterned after Louisville. He sang and played something like Louis. And Daisy Mae and the Hepcats.
There's another one.
Johnny Hodges.
You did work with Hodges?
Yeah.
When was that?
In 1953.
For how long?
Oh, 6, 7 months, I think.
Really? Who else was in the band?
Well, we had Richard Powell on piano, and Lawrence Brown, Emmett Berry, heck of a trouble, boy, and a guy named Jimmy Johnson on drums. And bass player, I forgot his name.
That surprises me. I had no idea that you ever worked with Hodges. Yeah?
Sure, man.
I mean, that was a real gas for you, wasn't it?
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, they had some true music, Man. Lawrence Brown, I like him immensely, man.
How'd you spell it? No, you have never.
Great trombonist,
Oh, M-E-E-D, not M-E-E.
Emmett Berry, he impressed me too. Johnny Hodges, feel like it. And Earl Bostic is kind of tremendous too. I didn't appreciate guys men like Earl, and after I heard Charlie Parker, because Charlie, he swayed me so much, But after I'd come out from under it a little bit, after I'd been under it a little bit, under a spell, then I could kind of listen to other people too. When I played with these men, I found I learned a lot from them. The main thing was trying to just see how things were, see how you have a guy here who plays all together different, you say, well, that's so-and-so, I know him anyway. Then you hear something else, say, well, that's so-and-so, I know him anyway. And then you sit down and maybe you can try to see where they both came from, and you find maybe they came out of the same tree somewhere along the line. So when I started looking at jazz like that too, at the collectively, looking at the whole thing. And then after Johnny Hodges, it was Miles. That was the next one. I worked with Jimmy Smith for about a couple of weeks before I went with Miles, the organist.
Yeah. He's tremendous.
Wow. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, man, hearing that organ.
Gives you nightmares.
Yeah, man, it was chords screaming at me.
Did you ever work with Bud Powell?
I played with Bud. I never worked with him. I think I played one gig with him. Back in 1949, Miles used to get with dance jobs in the Audubon in New York, uptown, way up on Broadway. And I think on one of the jobs he had Sonny Rollins and Bud, Art Blakely. I forgot the bass man and myself, you know, on this dance job. I think that's the only time I worked with Bud. He was playing too. Sonny Rollins, you heard him recently?
Well, the last time I heard him, let's see, was in November.
Yeah.
Last November. And of course, the LP that he made up at the night at the Village Vanguard
Mm-hmm.
with Elvin Jones and I forget who the bass player now was. I know Donald Bailey from Baltimore here was on one cut,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he had Wendell Marshall with him at the concert that I saw him. He's a wonderful guy.
Yeah, like some guys you call great, man. And Sonny, he's one. Like a talent that should have last. What's going on, because he just reached that great status, man.
What do you think of tenor players like, say, Bill Perkins and Richie Kamuka, the fellows that fall into the so-called, it's a bad word, but the so-called West Coast school?
Well, I haven't heard him enough to actually pass comment. I couldn't say. Ricky I know very well because we came up in Philly together. And he always could play, But I haven't heard him, man, since he was with Ken. I didn't hear him but once then, I didn't hear him like stretch out or anything. He just played a few solos with the band. I'll say that I like his style, And Perkins, I'm not too familiar with what he's doing. I haven't heard any of his LPs or records yet. What style does he play like mostly?
Well, it seems to be out of a Lester's kick. A little bit of Stan Getz, a little bit of Sims, a little bit of Herbie Stewart, in that general vein that's all derived from Lester.
Yeah.
He seems to have a little bit more of an individual voice than some of the other guys.
Does he play any Bird?
No, I don't think so. It's a different kind of listening experience than listening to somebody like yourself, or
Sonny,
or any of the really good tenor players on this side of the country.
Well, I'm sure they're good,
They're all very, very competent.
Yeah, I'm sure they're good.
That I wonder about though is that when you listen to something on LP by them, because here again I'm forced into the same position as you have, I haven't really had a chance to hear them in person, And I have heard a few LPs though. But what I've heard seems to have been very well thought out. But when it comes to the solos, it's like the whole thing is very well preconceived, so that you don't have the spontaneousness, if you can call it that. It doesn't seem to be a thing of the moment that happens. It seems to me that whoever the soloist is, he's thought the whole thing out, and he knows just what he's going to play before he ever plays it. And he's eliminated any mistakes that he might have made. Like you remember on the Monk thing, that I forget which tune it was in that LP that you did with Hawkins and them, where you had forgotten to come in and Monk just shouting Coltrane, Coltrane, and then they let the thing go. Well, that's the kind of a thing, to my way of thinking, that makes great music, where you catch mistakes as well as you catch great moments, And even Hawkins came in wrong on that thing too.
Yeah, well, I couldn't advise doing that too many times, too often.
No, but I mean that's an
That was
exaggerated.
very spontaneous, brother.
I guess you were so wrapped up with what he was doing.
Yeah, well, see, when we made that, I hadn't played with him too long. I hadn't been playing with him long. And actually, he would throw me more, quite often. He would actually throw me because I hadn't played with him long now. And I was unfamiliar, with the changes and stuff. But as time went by, I got used to him, and he can get awfully tricky, He makes you keep alert, you see. He likes that, He likes to keep the mental process vibrating, And you get to like that thing, if you get to play with it a while. But at first, I was afraid.
He wanted to leave here about 6 so you get back over there at 7.
Well, that's what I was worried about. I just happened to look. I asked to show me what time it was. I was checking my clock, and it's 6 o'clock.
It is 6 o'clock
So I
already?
was way back.
Yes, it is.
Can you wait just about 2 minutes and let me drive over with you so I can wake up?
All right, sure. Hurry up now. Because I want to get over there by 7 now.
It just occurred to me.
I was doing all right. This is on? Yeah. I was doing all right till I didn't think it was on at first.
Well, what I thought I'd do is, with this thing, we take it down to the clubhouse, and the next meeting, I play it back, for the rest of the club members. I'm sure they'd get a big kick out of hearing the thing, and certainly would illuminate them more aspects of you than they had probably thought about before,
Maybe so, yeah. But
And then
I wish I had something constructive to say, something.
Well, you got something constructive
something
to say.
fine to say, but I'll just end up like everybody saying, keep swinging or something like that.
Now, I'll tell you, another thing I had in my mind as this thing was going on, and you were talking quite naturally about different things, I got to thinking that I might just, if it's okay with you, I might just sit down and try to go back over this, play this tape over for myself, and try to write the thing out and send it into Downbeat and see if they wouldn't print a feature article on you. Because God knows they haven't done one on you, man.
Well,
I printed any number of your things. You might be sure.
No, they haven't printed
I
any
don't know.
number of things.
They printed several of them.
No, the only thing that they were printed was the article on the club here, and that was Metronome.
Metronome.
Yeah, and that I was never paid for that. I didn't want to get paid necessarily. But
well, I like to have something, to really say, like maybe after I search around a little bit, maybe I can find something real concrete to hash over with, about jazz, something like that. And then we can talk it up, maybe. If you like to send it in, it'd be all right with me. Oh, just if you want to, just let me see the thing. Let me see it.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll try to write it up, and let me have your address, man.
Okay.
And let me write it up, and I'll mail you the original. And if you think it's okay, why? You have to go ahead, man. Because I don't think I have your address, man.
No, because we didn't have it at Christmas time. We couldn't send him a Christmas.
That's right.
We sent him one down to the 5 spot, remember?
Did you ever get
I
it?
think I got it, too.
Huh? We sent one to you down there. That's right.
At
And
the
Karen,
5 spot.
it wasn't to him, though. It was to the whole group.
No, it was to him.
It was to the
and
whole
we
group.
contemplated sending one to Monk, and we said, nah, Monk wouldn't remember this anyway.
He might have. I don't know.
I'd ask Monk's in the world all by himself.
Boy.
He's going full.
The world's fastest dresser.
The world's fastest dresser.
She's not quite dressed. Not dressed.
When you got your hair tied up and all that stuff.
The lady did.
The Joe on here, on Chad House, yeah, there is.
This is in Philly, right?
No,
Oh, this is New York?
I slept all the way home last night.
Yeah, I guess she did.
I went to sleep shortly after Washington and woke up just as we come in Baltimore.
Isn't that coin and stuff?
Uh-huh. I had to just cane in my neck. I wouldn't have awakened then, but I saw the car stop.
It's itching my ear, man. It made me shiver.